What it do, party people? Aloha and welcome back. This is DEMINEM, the real Dim Shady, the backer of the genocide if it's the Democrats doing it, but not okay if the Republicans are doing it. JD Vance lies to Theo Von's face about Gaza when Dim Shady was lying to your face about Gaza when Joe Biden was in office and when, what's her name, Kamala Harris was running for president. So yeah, it's okay if the Dems do it, but not so hot if the Republicans do it.
JD Vance shamelessly lies directly to Theo Von's face when Theo brings up, hey, what's happening in Gaza? I mean, it looks like a genocide. And it's our money and it's our weapons that's going to support this genocide.
And so he will tell you to vote for it if it's his room all blued up, right? He just had a blue massive explosion in his room for the Democrats, and now he's just all Trump derangement. And how are you gonna be mad that he's lying about a genocide when you said to vote for this genocide anyway? What do you care if he lies about it? You wanted it to continue.
And I don't know. I have a problem with that. I think that's bad. I think we shouldn't do that. This is just a masterclass in dishonesty and obfuscating and deflecting from JD Vance. Let's watch.
I think the tough thing just as a regular person, right? It's like we're seeing all these videos of people like picking up pieces of their children and like,
of course.
It's the sickest thing I think it's ever been televised. Basically, if you consider watching something on your phone being televised, it feels like a massacre, and it feels like I've called it a genocide. Other people have different thoughts about it, and that's fine, right? And I don't need anybody to.
And these videos have been coming out for a couple years, and if you really looked into Israel Palestine, which I have before, there's all kinds of stuff in the history of this since 1947, I think it was. It's been a genocide. It's been an occupation. It's been apartheid. So I mean, now that we got cell phones, people can see it more readily. But it's been going on from Democrat to Republican to Democrat to Republican. And even if you just want to start with Joe Biden supplied them the weapons to start this genocide, and Trump just took it over. And if you voted in Democrat after Trump, the genocide is just going to go to the Democrats now and just keep going.
Share the same thoughts, or you too.
I would go a step further than Theo Von there. I do need you to say that. And I do need you to believe that. Because if you don't, at this late date, you're just being dishonest. You are just lying. That's it.
Now that
there is no way around it.
Are in office,
if
you got to say it, you got to mean it, and you got to say it with conviction. But when the Democrats were in office, it was just okay.
Hey, at this late date, it's not a genocide. You are just lying. There is way too much evidence for people to conclude.
At this late date, if you didn't say it was a genocide, an occupation, or apartheid, all that stuff, when Barack Obama was in office, you were just lying. If you or not paying attention, a lot of people don't pay attention. But if you know anything about this stuff, like I thought it was crazy when I found out about Palestine and what was going on there. And I think, I forget, it was 15, 20 years ago. I don't know. It was either while Obama was in office or before. So if you knew about it, I knew about it then. I knew Obama was doing some terrible things in Palestine and supplying terrible weapons and whatnot to Israel to kill people for no reason.
Anything but the obvious here. All right, let's keep going.
It feels like a massacre, and it feels like, I've called it a genocide. Other people have different thoughts about it, and that's fine, right? And I don't need anybody to share the same thoughts, or you too. But I think where it gets scary is that we give, we're complicit in it because we help fund like military stuff. And that's where as like a regular guy, you're like, well, I'm paying these taxes. And
you help fund military stuff. We've been doing this we put Israel there. We took the land and gave it to them and have been funding them through war after war after war since we put them there. That's what we've done. It's crazy that people don't know the history of just American stuff and our stuff, CIA things. People need to look stuff up more.
They're going towards this, like, but you can't do anything, like you can talk, but it's like, you can't. I don't understand how it becomes like tough for people. Like sometimes it feels like we look out for the interests of Israel before we look out for the interests of America.
Theo Von is a total normie type dude. He's saying it looks like you look out for the interests.
Theo Von was a normie, right? But when you get on TV or YouTube now, you start interviewing people, especially somebody like the President of the United States, you start to learn stuff and you become like an educated person or whatever, you start to know stuff about what you're talking about, right? You're not a normie anymore once you are an interviewer.
Of Israel before you look out for the interests of America. At the same time, they're sending an endless amount of money and weapons to Israel so they can complete the genocide.
But that's nothing new. Joe Biden, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, I'm pretty sure Jimmy Carter, any Democratic president you can name since 1947 has sent Israel all the money they wanted to fight war, to maintain land, to grow, all that. Like, it's not a Republican thing. That is a duopoly thing.
They
It's
are
a capitalist thing. It's an oligarchy thing. But it's not just a Republican thing. It's all that. It's Republican, Democrat, duopoly. That's what runs this.
massively slashing Medicaid in this country. Over 10 million people will lose their health insurance.
Right, when Obama could have passed Medicare for all, he could have passed universal health care and made it free for everyone, or free at the point of sale. We pay our taxes.
Income people, disabled people. 51,000 will die as a direct result of that. They're also
And then Hillary Clinton had the Pied Piper strategy where she helped Donald Trump win when they cheated Bernie Sanders, when Bernie Sanders was going for universal health care. So the Democratic Party fights that stuff. They don't want it. If you want universal health care, if you want to end wars, you know what I'm going to say. You need to go to the Green Party.
also raising taxes on the bottom 90% of the country while cutting taxes for the wealthiest people. So the reason why it feels like, oh my God, we do more for Israel than we do for this country, that's objectively true. Because every policy from this regime when it comes to this country is let's make life more difficult for working people. Let's wage class warfare on behalf of the billionaires.
What did he say?
Is let's make life more we do for this country. That's objectively true. Because every policy from this regime when it comes to
From this regime, because Biden was helping us out, Barack Obama fined poor people for not being able to afford health care. It's not this regime. It is the duopoly, and you are keeping it going. You are keeping the oligarchy alive and well by pumping people, or trying to pump people into the Democratic Party.
to this country is let's make life more difficult for working people. Let's wage class warfare on behalf of the billionaires against working people. So he's correct when he says that.
So let me say a couple things. So number one, like, I think you're a great dude, so we don't always have to agree on everything. Do I think
Yeah,
it's
totally.
do I think it's a genocide? No. And here's the reason why I don't think it's a genocide.
He's just a liar. He's just a liar. He's an eyeliner wearing pudgy ass bitch liar.
As one could say about the real Dim Shady.
He knows. He knows what this is.
'Cause
He
he
knows what
knows.
we're witnessing. He's seen the videos.
He
He's
knows
seen
what party started it and kept it going until the Republicans won. It's been like this for, what, like 80, 70, 80 years through Democrat, Republican. He knows this. He acts like they're different. He's just going to put you into the other genocide party, from one genocide party to the other genocide party. Do you think the Palestinians care who's sending the bombs to Israel? They would just like them not to be sent. Again, Green Party. We're not going to send no bombs to nobody. We're going to stop all wars that America's in, that America's in, which would probably, within about 5 or 10 years, stop all wars on Earth.
seen the relentless bombing of hospitals and schools and paramedics and UN buildings and World Central Kitchen workers. He's seen it all. He knows what we're witnessing. He just doesn't care. He doesn't care because him and Trump have taken a colossal amount of money from the Israel lobby. They are swimming in Israel lobby cash. And so they know who their bosses are. That's the bottom line. But let's keep hearing his line of
Right,
bullshit.
Like the Democrats don't take money from the same people. This, again, that's why we call him Dim Shady, because he knows too much to be talking like this. He's shady. Just shady.
Do I think it's a genocide? No. And here's the reason why I don't think it's a genocide. Because I don't think that the Israelis are purposely trying to go in and murder every Palestinian.
JD, they are now quite literally saying that. You have Ben Gvir and Smotrich who've come out and said, yes, don't be afraid of victory. This is what victory looks like. We're going to take over the Gaza Strip. We're going to occupy the entire Gaza Strip. We're going to kill as many people as we can, and then the ones who we can't kill, we are going to ethnically cleanse them. You and Donald Trump are trying to make a deal to...
So I wonder if Kamala Harris won, what he would be saying right now, because the exact same thing would be going on. She would have gave him the same amount of money, maybe more, maybe a little bit less. It would have been around, give or take 10, 20%. But she'd give him the weapons, anything, just like any other Democratic president has. They might restrict this weapon or that weapon and say certain different things, but it doesn't matter. They're still committing a genocide, no matter if you do it through legal means or not, or more legal means.
Send the Palestinians that remain alive to Libya. You've also tried to talk to other countries.
Libya, a country that we tore up, that Hillary Clinton, a Democrat, said we came, we saw, he died. Gaddafi had Libya great. Their reading was up to like 80 or 90%, something like that. The literacy rate, that is. They had this big waterway that they called like the 9th or 10th wonder of the world or something, that we bombed and destroyed. But Libya was becoming a really great country that we destroyed, and now we want to send Palestinians there?
Countries to get them shipped there. That is ethnic cleansing. It is a genocide and an ethnic cleansing. The idea, oh, they're not trying to kill literally every last one of them, so this is not a genocide, bro. Can you believe
the idea that it would be different under the Democratic Party is just as stupid as whatever you're about to say.
what you're hearing? Can you believe what you're hearing?
Every time I listen to this guy now, that's exactly what I think. And I can't believe what I'm hearing. This is crazy. From 10, 15, or maybe even 20 years ago, I started watching this guy probably in 2008 maybe. Like, whenever he came out, I probably started watching him within a year. And, man, I don't know, he was such more of a leftist and more anti-democrat and more for the people. And now he's just a system guy. And it's to see him go from being anti-government to vote blue no matter who, or maybe not anti-government, but like anti-capitalism, kind of anti-U.S. imperialism, to now falling in line and vote blue no matter who, and being an imperialist, a fascist, just straight up. That's crazy to me. It's a wild turn.
Again, the immense dishonesty and lies to justify and rationalize what we're witnessing here.
Like, all this stuff that he's saying, he could be saying about himself. It's just, as a person who's watched probably his whole career, it is very sad to see this.
It's the lowest of the low.
I don't think that the Israelis are purposely trying
Everything he says, everything he could just be saying about himself.
to go in and murder every Palestinian. I don't think that's what they're doing. I think they got hit hard, and I think they're trying to, like, sort of destroy this terrorist organization. And war is hell.
There are 30 to 40,000 Hamas members in Gaza. There were 2.3 million Palestinians in Gaza. Now they say it's down to 1.8, 1.9. So in other words, they've killed like 400,000 Palestinians, 90+% of them innocent. But there are 30 or 40.
And how many were killed during the, what was it, a year and a half or so that Joe Biden was in? Trump's been in, what, for 6 months, or a little bit less than 6 months, I guess. Most of those 400,000 people were killed under Democratic presidency. Are you going to talk about that?
40,000 Hamas members. There were 2.3 million people there. And he has the nerve to say, I just think they're trying to go after the terrorists.
There were 2.3 million people there. When did this start? They said October 7th. What year was it? What is it, 2025, 24, like 2023? So, like, it's almost been 2 years, right? Almost 3 years. Let me look that up real quick. So, yeah, if you started in October 2023 is when that day was, then you got 15 months of Joe Biden and about 5 months of Donald Trump. So 3/4 of the time of this genocide is the Democrats.
Was it going after the terrorists when they announced within the first week, we're doing a total siege. No food, no fuel, no water, no electricity for anybody in the Gaza Strip. That impacts grandmas and grandpas and innocent people and
This is not the first time they've done this, and it's been under different presidents, and even in this last 15 months, it's not the first time they've done it, and they've done it before this 15 months.
children. How can you say that's only them going after Hamas when it's a total siege? When you see the videos of like 90% of the buildings in Gaza are just rubble, they starved them for over 80 days. How can you say,
Why would you just go back 80 days? They've been doing this, like I said, for 20 months about.
oh, they're just going after the terrorists, bro. Oh my God, I hate this guy so much.
I also think it's true, man. I mean, I've seen people on my side of the political aisle. I'm a Republican. You know that, but your audience may not. Who, like, will see these videos of these innocent Palestinian kids and say, oh, well, they had it coming to them. No. Like, if you have a soul, your heart should break when you see a little kid who's suffering, which is why we have the policy that we have, which is we're trying to eliminate the conflict, eliminate the source of the conflict, so that we can actually bring some peace and some humanitarian assistance into people.
You have got to be kidding.
All right, you have got to be kidding me. So funny.
Dropside News points out, podcaster Theo Von tells Vice President J.D. Vance that it appears the U.S. prioritizes Israel's interest over America's and raises U.S. complicity in Gaza's genocide. This is what his White House has done. They've lifted the freeze on 2,000-pound bomb shipments to Israel. Bombs
But it's disingenuous just to start at his White House.
that have been used to strike displaced Palestinians sheltering in makeshift tents, and approved over $12.5 billion in military assistance since taking office in January 2025. Vance denied it was a genocide, defended Israel's military operations in Gaza, and claimed the Trump administration was working to eliminate the conflict. He then argued the administration was being unfairly attacked for seeking diplomacy, even though when Israel unilaterally broke the ceasefire on March 18th under Trump's watch, the administration took no action to hold it accountable. No action. So J.D. Vance says, we're doing diplomacy, bro. We're trying to stop. How is it diplomacy to say, here's some more 2,000-pound bombs, and by the way, I'm going to lift the moratorium. You're allowed to use them now.
How is what Joe Biden did diplomacy? Just give them other types of bombs. They probably just ran out of the bombs that Joe Biden gave them. They just go to the next type of bombs. If Joe Biden was in office or Kamala Harris was in office, when they ran out of the bombs, they'd just give them the 2,000-pound bombs, I'm sure, or just some other type of bombs.
How is that diplomacy?
On them.
How is it diplomacy to send $12.5 billion in military assistance since taking office? How is it diplomacy to sit there and watch as they bomb literal tent cities with innocent Palestinians there? How is any of this diplomacy? None of this is diplomacy. How is it diplomacy when Israel violates the
How is the duopoly ever doing diplomacy? Do you know anything about our CIA?
ceasefire, and you do nothing to try to hold them accountable? And you, in fact, you gaslight on behalf of Israel and lie to Hamas. Hamas came out and said, hey, bro, we'll release every single hostage and we will drop our weapons and leave Gaza. This has been the main ask from Israel for so long. Hey, if you just release all the hostages and Hamas leaves Gaza, that's it. It's over. This will stop today. Hamas offered that. Israel rejected it. They rejected it. They said, we don't want Hamas to leave Gaza. What? Why? You know why. Because they want the excuse of Hamas to continue to murder everybody in sight. The goal every step of the way was genocide, was ethnic cleansing, was occupation, was stealing more land, was creating a greater Israel. That's the goal.
This has been the goal for many, many years, dude. So goofy. Like, he had the whole he's had the episodes talking about where Benjamin Netanyahu let a briefcase of money in to support Hamas, so he said that he needed Hamas to be stronger so he would have someone to fight, and this was, I think, in the 90s maybe, or at least early 2000s, I'm pretty sure.
J.D. Vance is a smug little weasel prick lying to Theo Von's face about this. By the way, I have...
As is DEMINEM here. That's why we call him Dim Shady.
The message to all of the podcasters out there, the Rogan Sphere podcast bros who get these big name Republicans on their podcast. Don't do it if you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Don't do it if you don't know the facts, you don't know the
Why don't you do it? Why don't you bring him on? Why don't you talk to him?
details, you don't know the specifics, you don't know when they're lying directly to your face. Don't do it. Because functionally what you're doing is PR for them. You are covering for them. You are...
And you're doing PR for the Democratic Party. You're doing the same thing for the other fascist party that doesn't care about us. That's the duopoly. That's the corporate parties that has the good billionaires.
Humanizing them as they act like the modern day Nazis. So I know they're late. Oh, me, bro, I'm just a comedian, bro. No big deal, bro. I just shoot the shit and talk or whatever. And look, in 90% of cases, that's fine. You're talking to an actor. You're talking to a comedian. You're talking to a singer. You're talking to whatever. 90% of cases, you just want to shoot the shit. Cool. God bless. You do whatever the fuck you want. But when you're dealing with world-class war criminals committing an historic atrocity right in front of our eyes.
But why would you talk so definite like this when you're telling people to vote for world-class war criminals? Voting blue, no matter who, just keeps the wars going. Barack took the wars from 2 to 7. Joe Biden let this genocide begin. He didn't stop it. He had 15 months or so to do so. Didn't care to stop it. So, I mean, and Joe Biden's on record saying he doesn't care about people, that he cares about his family and doesn't care why people got to where they were. He says that out loud. So, I mean, Democrats, how are they any better fascists than the Republican fascists?
Maybe in that sense, maybe you pass on that. Or if you're going to do the interview, know where you have to press and where you have to be aggressive. God damn it, man. God damn it. I hope everybody sees through this. And I hope
Right, I hope everybody sees through this. He might not say it on this video, but as he's all hardcore, he's all trying to be left wing and all anti-establishment. He's just a liberal. He's what Malcolm X warned us about. In the very end, he's going to tell you to vote for whatever Democratic shill they put up or whatever Democratic representative they put up. Maybe AOC is trying to run, but they're going to cheat her out and they're going to put in Buttigieg or whatever regular ass Democrat who doesn't care about us. So he's going to tell you to vote for them, no matter who it is, and they're going to supply Israel with whatever they want, and he's going to not talk about it for 4 years or 8 years, and then when the Republican gets in, he'll talk about it again, like, oh, something's bad. But we can change this stuff. We can change it all. There's a party out there who has the good politics, who will actually implement the good politics. It's called the Green Party. I think if you watch this channel, you might know that.
everybody realizes what this regime is really about.
The duopoly.
They're about fascism. They're about authoritarianism.
That's what
They're about a
duopoly's all
billionaire robber baron coup. And they're about genocide. Arming and funding a genocide. That's where we're at. Hey, y'all, do me...
That's where we've been for quite some time. If you really care about Palestinians, it's been a genocide. It's been a genocide for what? Since 1947, I've been saying, right? Like, if you know anything about it, you know about it. If you don't, look it up. Look up Israel-Palestine, how it started. Look up the Balfour Declaration. It actually got started, like, 1890s or something when they started the wheels in motion, if you will. But anyway, look some things up and look it up on the left, look it up on the right, look it up down the center, look it up across the spectrum.